One, two, and here we go. Hi, everyone. Did I catch you off guard? Probably not, but hey, it's Friday. How are you? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Hope it's a good day for you. Listen, if you're watching this, then you know that you're still on this side. You know, and certainly seems that's what we all fight for. So, hello, everyone. How are you doing? Good to see you. So, how's it going? Y'all haven't? I've seen some of the comments already. Welcome all the moderators and all of you fine people. Jamma, David, Michael, Matt, Mary, Claire, Flower, Franny, how are you doing? Sarah K, Jesse, Glenn, Empower Rex, good to see you. Girl with no name, Spooner. That's pretty cool. I knew a horse with no name. That was back in the day. Angela, good to see you. Hello. Lori, good to see you. Sherry, Indestructible One, how you doing? Marion, hello. Heidi, how the heck are you? Chris, eyes to see. Led Zeppelin playing. You know, I gotta say, it's right on, baby. Rock on. That's what it's all about. You know, good deal. Zora, how are you doing? Good to see you. Anti-popular girl, how you doing? Mad Hatter, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. In Valley Parks, hello. Cheesesteak, peace, man. High five, how you doing? Donna, good to see you. Maria, Abby Hayes, how are you doing? Mystery, good to see you. Chris, the Master Troy, great name, love it. Anna, Jerry, Carolyn, wow. So, how are y'all? So, here's something for you to ponder. I mean, not going to have anything else to do later on. By the way, speaking of later on, tonight got the Queen of Courts coming on, Karen. Looking forward. This will be her second time on, and she's now part of the community, so looking forward to what she has to say. And so, here's the thing to ponder. Is not the future for the old? Think about this. Is not the young in the past and the old is in the future? Yeah? Did you get that? To be young is to be in the past. To be old is to be in the future. I know it's, contrarian to what we think, but in reality, that's what it really is, isn't it? So, everyone, good, got the tea. Amazing how many of y'all are buying this tea. I think I'm going to write to Celestial Seasons and say, hey, you ought to give every one of us a discount on this. Well, let me just write that down. I think I just might do that. So, how many of you have gone out and seen Venus? I encourage you to get up early. Now, here in Denver, in Denver area, the past couple of mornings have been spectacular. I mean, it's almost like, well, it's odd. The planets, the stars, everything is so crisp. The planets are brilliant, and Venus is becoming so bright with my telescope. I'm almost having to get kind of a glare reducer. So something is definitely going on. Now, all of you watching, you need to go over and check out Dr. Albert's channel, Planet X Physicist, and Scott Zione, Planet X News. I want to show you this so you guys can get what's going on. Dr. Albers and Scott sent me this picture. As you look at the date, 2/14, 11/09/35, 2018. This is core 2 from stereo. That bright object you see up there is Jupiter, I believe. Yeah, I think it is Jupiter. I believe it is. Yeah. I'm thinking Venus is in that. But so this is an object that is big. If you look at that very bright planet, you can see how the luminosity of our solar system everywhere. Next Friday night, Dr. Ram, Dr. Miller, we're going to have fun on this. But yeah, so what I did is that I wanted to go back and for myself and hello. So let me check this out. So I went to stereo, you can go to the website and you can actually download these clips coming off of the satellite. And sure enough, there it is. Again, time code all matches up. You can do this yourself. Seriously, I don't know. Whatever that is, it's big, and it appears to have a companion right here by. And these are moving fast. Ask my dog about how fast our sun is moving. She's always having to get up and move. But yeah, so this is pretty interesting to see whatever that is. So what, and let me get out of here on this one. And so what Scott did when he sent this out, and allow me to pull this up. So to kind of give you some reference, I'm just pulling this up so you can get an idea. There you go. Here we are. Here's core. This is stereo. Looking out. So whatever we saw coming through back here gives you another perspective of. Now, what's odd, I know that this was almost predicted. Many of you saw the date that I had, 12/10/18. I was expecting this to be seen earlier, but then it's here. So again, there is the object. And what I find curious is that this is exactly what I would suspect, and I'm sure Dr. Albers will tell us as well. What I find interesting is how this object is reacting to our sun and whatever it's. So now we can get a better idea of what we're looking at. And so, and there it is. Big sucker. So, yeah, it's odd to say the least. So I'm back here. I love driving. Any of you getting motion sickness? So, yeah, things will be a changing. And I'm glad that there are diligent people like Dr. Albers, Planet X News, um, number of other channels that just do a great, great job in tracking these things. Because you'll never hear about it in the media. So anyway, yeah. Hello, Jason. How are you? It is, Cheryl. It's big and yeah, stellar core. Hey, Jacob, how are you doing? So, I'm just reading some. You can't be texting and driving at the same time. People get in accidents doing that. So, anyway, been thinking. I've had some interesting comments. I leave them there so for all of us to read, because some of them are, well, amusing. Big shout out, by the way, to all of you here. I just want to invoke favor upon your life this day, and may there be nothing missing, nothing broken found in your life. That which has been stolen, may it be returned sevenfold back to you, and that which has been broken be mended as new. That's important. How many people in your day go and invoke favor upon you? Can you count on your hand how many? Um, yeah, I am drinking and driving. There you go. Thanks, Brad. There we go. Hey, Blazing River, how are you doing? We got a lot of musicians in here. Good rockers here. Blazing River is one. Check him out. Check him out on his YouTube channel. So we cover a lot of deep thinking here. Someone wrote me and said, of all the channels that they subscribe to, they said this one here gives them the biggest brain workout. I thought, well, that's cool. Yeah. So many of you write me such kind emails. Thank you. I can't answer all of them. I try to do my best on that, but thank you, folks. I mean, y'all are just, you edify me and you build me up, and I really do feel that we have a community here. I, peruse many of y'all's channels, and I love seeing the growth. I mean, it's wonderful. It's quite humbling when you step back and you see how a diversified group can come together and coexist in harmony with diversity of thought. Many of us have many eclectic views of how we see things and how we process things. But nevertheless, even within that, we find common ground. And I don't know, maybe it's because we invoke favor on one another. What do you think? I mean, how can you really have ill feelings for anyone who invokes favor upon you? Quite frankly, if I was in an airport and someone walked up to you and said, I just want to invoke favor upon you today. I don't know who you are, and I know you're in the airport, but just let favor be with you, everything that you do today. And then as you begin to turn around and walk away, look at them and say once more, may there be nothing missing, nothing broken found in your life. That which has been stolen, may it be returned to you sevenfold, and that which is broken, may it be mended as new. And walk away. What? I'll tell you what. First of all, they might want to call security because you are not normal. As they would say, you be anything but normal. But could you imagine? Could you imagine if two people a day started invoking favor on strangers every day, then maybe 4 a day, a dozen a day, people all around the world walking up to strangers and just in all the different languages, all the different tongues, and just invoking favor upon strangers. Wow. Don't do it in Germany. uh, well, listen, you know, might as well, stand out. Can you imagine someone coming home and going, well, how was your day? Well, it was really odd, and the story is then begin to be told. And imagine if you have young ones at the table and they hear this and they begin to think, well, what did dad mean when he said someone invoked favor upon him? They take it to school and they start incorporated into their nomenclature. Before you know it, you've got the newest thing going around the world. Well, how cool is that? So I think that that's something we should consider this holiday season, and however you choose to celebrate the holiday. I think that's kind of really cool. Think about it. Had some emails. Some of you listened to the radio program last night. Interesting program, wasn't it? Encourage you to go over to the Artists First Network if you hadn't. Check it out. It's the type of subject matter you can't talk about it on YouTube. But nevertheless, I did have a most interesting email, oddly enough, from New York. And someone said, how the hell did you find out about that? I said, it was a guess. Strictly a guess. So check it out. It's worthwhile listening to. Oh, Lisa C., far out. That's really, you know what, Lisa, you're absolutely spot on. You should be speaking favor over the water, that which you take in to consume. There was a time when I used to be on Nexium. God, am I glad I'm off that. Now, a lot of people are. A lot of people have stomach issues. But I contend that, you start speaking to that which you have to consume. We got to consume it. Then speak favor to it. Been off that drug for nearly 5 years. Saved myself a fortune. And I want to give a shout out to Keishi 95, St. Louis, the home of where real rock and roll started. And lived in St. Louis in the 70s and had many fond memories of Keishi, knew a number of the DJs there. So wanted to give a big shout out to Keishi. Rock on, folks there. You folks in the St. Louis area, you've got a legacy there that lives on today. So there we go. So anyway, how does the microwave hurt water? Interesting question. I've often said, here's something for our group to discuss. Hey, 333, isn't that amazing? Well, we had 333. So do you think spirits are impacted by radiation? I mean, can they be impacted, let's say, by a sun, a star emitting radiation? Are they immune to that? I often wonder, does radiation exist in the next realm? Does radiation exist in all dimensions? And that would mean that if our spirits aren't affected by radiation, that makes us, are you ready for this? Gods. I don't know. Still interesting questions coming in, responses on how can spirits talk? How can spirits walk? How can spirits hear? How can spirits see, right? And the consciousness one. Wow, there was some deep thoughts. I read some of those comments, and amazing how many of us never stop and think about how we call ourselves in our dreams. My wife and I were talking about that last night, and she looked at me and she said, "Where the hell do you get this at?" And I said, "Well, hon, I think the question is, how do you address yourself?" And she said simply this. She says, "I am me." And I went, "Well, I know it's you, but how do you address yourself?" She said, "I see myself as me." There you go. I mean, haven't seen anyone who's actually calls yourself by name yet. Maybe there are some there. I don't know. But yeah, kind of interesting. So when we start thinking about certain things like, for instance, let me get out some of these programs here. The whole fact that, say, for instance, we all like to think that, we're it. Basically what we like to do. And that's cool. I mean, you know, we think that in a very polite way that us sapiens, I think technically sapiens, we think that we're the crowning achievement of glory. And we've got this delusion that, we're bipedals, and we seem to think that this is the perfect form. But that's not necessarily true. As I showed here in the opening title to this, the question was, well, how many are really here? I mean, think about it. And we have such a narrow perspective on what is actually us. So allow me, I'm doing this, and actually I'm doing this rather well. There we go. So this is Puma Punka, and they've discovered, I think, a new palace there. This is the Wall of Mankind, representative of all the races. Every time I hear the word races, but it's better than saying subspecies. But races sounds like, this is a contest. This is some kind of, I don't know, sporting event. And strange faces, how they got this. But this is the one that everyone finds odd. I mean, are the grays part of us? The picture that everyone saw shows an incredible, if you can get into this, let me hold on one second. There we go. Thank you. So let's just check this out real quick. So what do we have here? Well, we've got a lizard. We've got the grays. We've got what, not sure what this is. We have a representation of, I think, the insect. I mean, what are these? Are they actual part of our history, our DNA, our genetic makeup, our genealogically extended family? Is this what we're supposed to take away from this? Don't know. It does beg one to answer the question, what's up? So, quick pop quiz for everybody, real quick. How many gods are currently worshipped on planet Earth? Who's got it? Trophies. Hey, great Scott. That's pretty cool. Anyone got a guess? Those be our relatives. That's what they say. You know, I think that there's strong foundation for that. So here's the thing. 10,000. Stan, how'd you know that, Stan? That's an interesting, Stan, how did you know that? I want to see. I'll wait for hoping to see how Stan knew that. Interesting. So let me pull up something for you that's very, very interesting that Stan said 10,000, because that's the current thought. That's how many different gods are worshiped in the world today. And it's really interesting when you see this. So all of these are galaxies, right? We don't know how much life is there. Abundant, I'm sure. Diverse, no doubt. And this is our known universe. I contend this. If you're spilling out on the side, just saying. So we're going to get next week into discussion about the real life possibility that the true, how do I say this? Any way you say this, it almost sounds racist. The true race of the originals live in the earth, not on it, but in it. And when you look at how everything on this planet apparently was at one time, makes it kind of weird, because it shows that the planet, I don't know, it'd be interesting how it actually rotated and compensated for the landmass. So I've developed this theory that there were 10 master beings who came upon this jewel in this quadrant of space, this beautiful blue, brilliant planet, unique, special. And planets like Earth are crown jewels. If y'all remember the latest installment, I think Guardians of the Galaxy, and the how I think it was the Voltron who came in and wanted to get each one of the Infinity Stones. I think that that's what Earth is like. Planets like Earth, they're jewels to have. So I contend that there were 10 of these beings that came, and then the first cataclysm hit. I contend that this was, in fact, part of the collision of the Sagittarius dwarf ecliptical galaxy, of which I contend that Earth and our other planets, I think, were originally a part of. And this first cataclysm came in and completely re-racked the whole table. These came from near and far, punished the Earth, really just through our whole magnetic field. I think that this was probably maybe the first real magnetic pole flip. And I mean, as well as geographically, north became south, south became north. And that this reversal altered everything in around and about our planet. I contend I don't think our solar system looked anything like it does right now. I think it was vastly different. And this is what the Earth began to look like then after the dust settled. We had basically two great continents, Laurasia and Gondwana. This is what the Earth looked like at that time. I contend that the Earth potentially was as big as Saturn. I think it was not the same size it is today. I think the Earth has shrunk a lot. Laurasia split from Pangaea that was originally there. This was the Triassic period. And the Earth began to do, I don't believe in the theory of the slow drift of the mantle, the tectonic plates. I think we've seen it, that there is a theory, and it's in my book, my novel I started writing way long ago, that the Earth goes through the sudden shifting of the tectonic plates, the whole mantle. Women, you understand this. Those of you who have given the birth of life, you know about stretch marks. And I won't say any more, but I think that this is how it was. And so the question I've often had was, in Gondwana, was there people? There were people. We know that. We've got not only do we have the geological record, but we have the anthropological record as well. I believe that there were people in the north regions as well. And I think we see that today distinctly in and around who we are. Then a second comet came through, a great comet. They said that this comet was seen for decades. They knew it was coming, maybe even longer than that. We've got one coming that has a lot of similarity to this one. And I call this one the second cataclysm. Man recorded this event, Göbekli Tepe. We know that they buried these, by the way. If any of you have read Magician of the Gods and other books on this, they buried it because they knew it was not going to survive if it was left up on the surface. They'd be right. I think that this was the second pole reversal, the one that we currently live in now. We have that written record. In fact, we got lots of written records. Different animals, different species. Quite interesting how Earth regenerates life. And I think after the comet and then the deluge, where you get your Bible stories, you get all your religious tales, this is what was left. And if you know how they put all the markers in here, but if you were to remove those, you can really see how Earth was fractured. And I still contend that we're still seeing that movement today. And if you look at it, these are the populations. Interesting when you begin to see the saturations. And then if you begin to take into effect that each one of these had their own gods. You see, this is why the one God monotheistic theology fails. It wasn't there to begin with. It was manufactured. But the interesting thing about this, strictly from an anthropological point of view, is how inevitably man will create something greater than himself in his mind and calls it God. And this goes way back before the flood. The strangest continent, I'd have to say, is definitely South America. I still contend that I think the Nephilim still live there. I think that they have I think they're still here. It's just my theory. And of course, Australia is the oldest of all. Very strange history, as many of you who know in your country have a very interesting history. The one continent that has no recorded gods is Antarctica. And I just simply think because the artificial ice that's been put there, and I've done videos on this, but nevertheless, we don't have any records of any god associated in this continent. So many gods all across, side by side, on top of one another. And it breaks down God, sub-God. You have the indigenous people of Alaska that really came over from, Siberia, Central America, South America. North America has a very rich history. Unfortunately, so much of that has been lost and is not in the history books of North America. Very sad. Yet we have detailed records from the European continent, from Russia. What always amazes me when we get into theological discussions, no one brings up the gods of Russia. Actually, they're pretty cool. They are. And now we have, which was once separated, now shared views of faith. You have the whole idea of principalities. Well, principalities are just that, principalities. I often think that whoever's behind the curtain, they must be playing a game of Risk. It gotta be. And then when we begin to map out the family DNA of the Homo sapiens and then Homo neanderthalis, Homo denison, you see, folks, don't get wrapped up about this sin thing. Anyone ever get you saying, well, God is separated from man because of man's sin? Remember, folks, what do we answer? Which version of man? Is it the Neanderthals that screwed this up? Cro-Magnons? No, it was those denizens, those bastards. I mean, which one? Which one was in the garden? Yeah. We know that there was a natural land bridge at the end of the last ice age. And as this, so how many current gods does the world worship? 10,000. But here's the interesting thing. If you take Christianity and all of the schisms, 30,000 additional gods have to be added because of Christianity. So it seems like the goal for all religion is basically to have a one world religion, isn't it? Yeah, the very thing they preach against is the very thing that they want. So we get all over. And here we have Judaism, Shiism, Daoism, Shintoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity. We've actually now projected out how this is going to play out 30 years from now. We keep close tabs on this. Why? When I said about the schisms in Christianity, here you go. How many of you know when the first schism happened? 1514. And it's schisms out and out and out and out and out. Isn't it odd, though, how we view human evolution? 33% of adults believe that humans existed in the present form since the beginning. 60% of adults, however, think humans have evolved over time. Well, I'm glad to see we're finally getting some of that. But yeah. Now, what's odd, it seems that every deity appears to have a covenant with a human and must be signed with DNA. Isn't it odd? And as we begin to look at the different belief systems around the world, I question, well, how can there just be one right God? I mean, it's so, I don't know, rude. Or inside, you're going, well, those fools, I got the right one. Really? Beautiful religions, all of them. You know, they have all their uniquenesses. And you know, when you look at this, you can't help but not say there must be many gods. I guess maybe in some place in another world, another dimension, maybe they're sitting around a table smoking cigarettes and, you know, shooting shots of Jack Daniels saying, well, I got 140 million. And, you know, the other one says, well, you think that's some? I've got nearly 500 million. I mean, is this what the count is? But you have to say, you can't negate this. And you surely can't say they're all one and the same. I mean, is that a case of the worst type of multiple disorder of personalities? But yet something's here. No doubt about it. But the question is, why? Why? Why is it that we're like this? Interesting, isn't it? So, and it goes on. But anyway, that's where I've come to my life. And when I have people that try to lambaste me and call me the Antichrist and agent of the devil, Luciferian, and oh God, the list comes on. But you know what? I've never had one Hindu ever, ever speak ill of me, ever. I've never had one Muslim speak ill of me, never, or wish me harm, never. I've never had a Buddhist say one thing negative. It's all from one religion. And I sit here at where I am on this path of life, and you just have to ask yourself, how can there only be one? And again, I've made the statement. I've read all about these different religions. I've rejected them all. I don't like them. And it's not that there's anything wrong with them. For me and my kind, and there's many of my kind, there's many of our kind here. We've gotten out of that matrix. We know that there is one that started all this, but I think that's above man's consciousness. I think it's above man's ability. We search, we seek, we struggle, we cry, we beg, we get tired, we get angry in seeking the knowledge. But we have to begin to do something different here. Well, they do, Brad. You ought to see some of the. It's like, what? Say what? And yeah, so these are the things that I consider now, and this is what this channel is dedicated to. We've got to do something different. And maybe it's simple as invoking favor on one another. I mean, I'd love to see that happen as a normal way of greeting someone. Favor be unto you, sister. Favor be unto you, brother. You know, good man, whatever it would be. And maybe, just maybe, those who we elect to represent us will begin to have the same mindset. Instead of lining their own pockets, maybe we could begin to line all of us in a favor consciousness. Maybe that's the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe that's where it's going. Well, I don't know, but we're going to give it a try, aren't we? I think in 2019, we're going to pick up on mirror gazing. I think it's time to begin to see. We're definitely going to pursue talking with the planets. I think we're going to get better at that. And maybe that's where we stopped in our development psychically. And we have been in the dark ages. Maybe we've been in a void these last 2,000 years, a void of consciousness, a void of understanding. Don't know. One thing about it, I feel more kinship to the people here than I have in most of the journeys of my life. You know, I was once a part of that where you wear the mask. Oh, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah. Oh, good. How's family? Good to hear it. Yep. You walk out of the room. Yeah. You know, you ever get that feeling that your back is hurting? Yeah, that's because of the knives that were being stuck. But so anyway, folks, going to make this one short. Got things I have to do around the house. Got family coming. And, you know, my list of the honeydews, I like to keep it short. Because I have learned, ladies, happy wife, happy life. And guys, yeah, the most wisest thing that will be said to you on the other side, you figured out the secret to life. Maybe if we took that same approach for Mother Earth, if we were to take the same attitude, happy Earth, happy life, might be worth taking a look at. What do you think? I think so. Hey, folks, you're the best. Thank you for those who that are going to join us tonight with Karen, Queen of Quartz. I look forward to seeing you then. For those that have other plans, may favor grace you. May peace be your constant companion. And have a great weekend. And hopefully we'll see you on Sunday over on Jeff's channel, not your normal Sunday. So, folks, thank you. You've enriched my life. I hope that I've, in some small way, enriched back into your life. Thank you for making this community what it is. It's you. You know, we've done this together, and there's like a wagon spoke. We're extending out in many different directions, but we still have a hub that we operate from and find our center in that balance. And that's what I appreciate you. And you've got a gifting. Listen, if you want to have your story told, come on here. This platform is open to all of you. Just feel like you want to come on. Come on. I can give you a list of other people who've been on here who thought it was going to be very, very nervous, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. Just like a roller coaster. Just a little bit. So thank you all. You're the best. You know, I can't think of a better group of people on this planet to be with than you folks here. So, all right, folks, we will see you later. Love yourselves. That way you'll learn to love those around you. Isn't that what Stephen Steele said? Oh, that was if you can't love the one. Yeah, anyway. All right, folks, bye.